And what do you know? I won again. Are you guys even trying? Hey, I don't want to tell you again. Put on the wrist strap before you drop that thing.
One of the things I miss most about hanging out with my friends is playing video games that can only be played when physically together. Even games that can be played online are often just better when you play them in the same room. A favorite of mine from the Wii U is Nintendo Land. This game came bundled with the Wii U and served to highlight the unique possibilities of having a tablet controller paired with TV gameplay. If you've never played Mario Chase or Animal Crossing Sweet Day with a group of friends, you don't know what you're missing, but trust me, it's good shit. Short of finding a Wii U on eBay, Nintendo Land is currently just lost to history, and that's a damn shame. These mini-games have really simple concepts, but like any Nintendo party game, the real fun is in playing with others. My condolences to the friendless folks in the audience, but if you follow me on Twitch, I'll pretend to like you there for a few minutes. Nintendo basically invented the party video game genre simply by making 4-player gameplay a standout feature on the N64. It said the fun machine right on the box. Leaning into this history is one of the things that separates Nintendo from the other guys, and now more than ever, the world is craving these kinds of experiences. No one looks at a PS2 and says,
"Oh can we play, SOCOM?"
But when you see an N64 sitting on the shelf, who doesn't want to play Mario Kart or GoldenEye? But you'll quickly realize that you, in fact, don't want to play GoldenEye.
Oh god.
A port of Nintendo Land to the Switch would be great, but why stop there? Now would be a great time to get a full sequel, or something similar to Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, an enhanced version of the game with some added content. Of course, this would require 2 Nintendo Switch consoles, but is that really a big deal? I've heard some say that it is, but how many games already require multiple consoles for multiplayer gaming? Like, pretty much every online game ever? If you're playing with your gamer friends, there's a good chance you'll have 2 Switches available anyway, and the Switch is portable. It's easy to get 2 in the same room. With the Switch Pro, or whatever they call the Switch revision, rumored to be releasing later in 2021, you may even always have 2 consoles in your house by that point.
Or maybe you already do if you have a Switch Lite kicking around.
But would you need 2 copies of the game? No! There's already an example of a Switch game that requires the use of 2 consoles for multiplayer features. I give you Pac-Man Vs., a game originally released on the GameCube which required a Game Boy Advance to be used for the player privately controlling Pac-Man. It was included as part of the Namco Museum collection on the Switch, requiring a second Switch be used in place of the GBA. This second system needs to download a multiplayer-only free version of the game from the Nintendo eShop. This is used just as a way to connect to the full, paid game on the main Switch, allowing the game to be played across multiple consoles with a single purchase. Super Mario Party, a disappointing game overall, also had mini-games playable over 2 Switch consoles. But, idiotically and unnecessarily, this required 2 copies of Super Mario Party. Nintendo could do the same thing as Pac-Man Vs., offering a multiplayer-only version of Nintendo Land for connecting to a paid version over Wi-Fi or direct system link. They could do this with many games, opening up some unique possibilities previously only possible on the Wii U. And let's not forget how games like Pac-Man Vs. and Zelda 4 Swords were played on the GameCube. You needed a second console, or 4. That's a lot of GBAs, but the game was made. It exists for that incredibly niche market.
Yes, I have 4 of these. In the worst case, certain mini-games could hook up to your phone if it's on the same Wi-Fi network as your Switch, and maybe put the Nintendo Switch Online app to some good use for a change.
Would it be a niche game that some people wouldn't quite understand? Maybe, but Nintendo Land is beloved by Wii U owners for the few included multiplayer games that really stand out. A tweaked and enhanced version would be hyped to holy hell by fans, and I think we'd see a similar embracing of it the way other Wii U titles ported to Switch have been received, such as Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Mario 3D World. It would be smart to include some online play, of course, to reach a broader audience, but using the game as a celebration for a return to in-person gaming with friends and family would be an excellent bit of marketing. A 2022 release would likely be perfectly timed.
I mean, I really hope we're all back to hanging out in 2022. Next year.
Nintendo is bringing back the Miis in a meaningful way with the Switch version of Miitopia. Nintendo Land used the Miis for all of its minigames, and this added a real level of personality that, in my opinion, has been sorely missed on the Switch. With the Switch revision, maybe we'll see an updated dashboard with the Mii Maker being more prominently featured. But hey, maybe a full-blown Nintendo Land 2 isn't even required. If Nintendo just released Mario Chase, Luigi's Ghost Mansion, Metroid Blast, etc. as standalone titles for a small price each, I bet they'd sell really well. And if they could be played online, it would be another great reason to subscribe to Nintendo Switch Online. In general, Nintendo Land is a great idea and concept overall. Nintendo has so many treasured franchises and characters, and now that they're building actual real-world theme parks with Super Nintendo World in Japan, Florida, and California, establishing Super Nintendo Land as an ongoing game series would be perfectly complementary.
You know, it probably isn't gonna happen. I'll just be lugging around the Wii U and all the controllers and the console itself and the external hard drives and the power cables and the sensor bar, basically until the day I die. So could we at least get a good Mario Party game? I mean, you had this figured out in the 90s.